It's like, I don't know what I am.
She's treated you like dirt from the very beginning. That's the relationship you have with her. And that's the reason I'm angry.
Robyn only legal marriage counts weight. Wasn't she doing the exact same thing with her spiritual marriage to Cody before she became his legal wife? Why is she so outraged now? Her kids already knew she was shacking up with a married man long before they were adopted by him. She's acting like this is some new revelation. The kids were calling him dad not long after. Meeting him, she's completely off her rocker. Yeah, this is exactly why she needed Cody to divorce Meri and marry her legally. She didn't feel like a real wife. Otherwise, the adoption was just a convenient excuse to get the official title. Wow, this is a great point. I love how you all keep spinning this drama, unearthing the little nuggets of truth. They try so hard to bury the truth, leaks out, no matter how much they try to cover it up. It's almost like their efforts to hide it are exactly what make their lies painfully obvious. But wait, didn't she tell all the kids about her out of wedlock sex and how she accidentally got pregnant? Were they mature enough that also it's pretty clear Robyn didn't trust any of the original wives or kids from the start? Meri couldn't even take Saul out of town a couple nights, and Christine wasn't trustworthy enough to watch the kids for a few hours during the day. So who exactly did Robyn think would raise her children if something happened to her? The very people she didn't trust in the first place. It's never really been about the kids. It's always been about securing the money. We've got so much to dive into today. So did Leon really change Cody's mind? I'm rewatching season 11, episode 2, and it's definitely a juicy one in this episode. Cody decides to have a heart-to-heart with Leon to try and break the awkward silence between him, Meri, and everyone else, thanks to the whole catfishing debacle. Cody's approach. He half-heartedly acknowledges that Meri messed up, but he doesn't seem too concerned about it. It's more like a, yeah, she made a mistake, but it's not like it's cheating at this point. He's not seeing it as infidelity yet, but then, after his talk with Leon, he suddenly seems to have a shift, or maybe he's just putting on a show. Did Leon really manage to change Cody's perspective, or was Cody always secretly leaning toward this stance? It's hard to tell. It's pretty clear Cody struggles with grasping the concept of an emotional affair, and while I don't think Leon completely changed his mind, they definitely shed some light on things that Meri conveniently left out. For instance, Leon didn't let Cody believe Meri's version of the story. You know, the one where she's the poor, unsuspecting victim of a friend. Wasn't who they said they were. Nice try, Meri. What really seemed to change Cody's perspective, though, wasn't the chat with Leon. It was when the catfish drama escalated and more juicy details started coming out, like voicemails and sexually suggestive photos from Meri to the catfish. Once Cody had those in his hands, it was like the fog lifted. There was no more pretending it was just a lapse in judgment. The truth was staring him in the face. Meri had been hiding a lot more than she let on. Leon didn't exactly change the game, but they did correct Meri's version of events. They set the record straight, revealing how much Meri had downplayed her involvement. This gave Cody an excuse to distance himself from her even further. Was Cody heartbroken? Doubtful. He probably saw it as a bruised ego moment. After all, Meri wasn't exactly throwing herself at him for affection after he'd been stonewalling her for years. So Cody used this whole fiasco to push her away even more, all while playing the victim in public. And while we're on the topic, did the catfishing incident completely ruin Leon and Meri's relationship? Well, Leon and Meri were never exactly besties to begin with. If you think about it, Leon never tells Meri anything first. They didn't come out to her about their relationship didn't call her to announce their engagement and generally keep her in the dark, just like everyone else. So yeah, the relationship was already strained, catfishing or not. Honestly, this just added more fuel to an already smoldering fire. So I'm home today after an operation and thought, why not binge some Sister Wives episodes I've missed? I ended up watching the one where Tommy asks Cody for permission. Meri Mykelti, let me tell you, I was stunned. They had been dating for, 5 months when he popped the question. That's it, 5 months, which in the world of Mormon courtships is apparently considered a long time. I mean, when I was Mormon, my husband and I had known each other for 6 months the day after we got married. So yeah, no room for long, thoughtful engagements there. But Christine was the voice of reason. She said, let's just hold off, but until the engagement actually happens. And honestly, I think she was spot on. Mykelti, though, not exactly the picture of maturity. Even as she gets older, it's like that switch just hasn't flipped. Tony, by the way, was pretty much mainstream Mormon at the time. So in their culture, 5 months of dating is practically an eternity still. Rush to get married felt super obvious, like they were in a big hurry just so they could, have sex. Cody even mentions it, saying something along the lines of, I get it, but come on, like, we all know what's really going on here. My mom's side of the family is Mormon. They were late to their own wedding reception because, they had just had sex right after the ceremony. It's just too much. Sometimes if they had never left Las Vegas, where would they be? Honestly, I can't help but think they'd still be together. I mean, yeah, the whole Meri catfishing thing probably still would have gone down, but everything else, that's a different story. Back in Vegas, Christine and Robyn actually seemed to be getting along, and they were becoming real friends. They had this perfect setup, no stress over rentals, no scrambling to buy house after house, and no endless financial headaches. They were living their best lives, so why on earth did they leave? It's honestly baffling. Flagstaff, really, of all the places to pick, Flagstaff just doesn't make sense. If they had stayed in Vegas, bet things would have played out completely differently. The land deal in Flagstaff, a massive mistake. Even Cody looked freaked out after they accepted that offer. He was clearly pressured by Robyn, and that decision ended up being the nail in the coffin for everything. Sure, the show probably would have evolved as the kids grew up and moved on, but I imagine it would have been a lot more family vacations and holiday gatherings without all the drama. Meri and Christine really got the short end of the stick, though. Cody made them believe he'd be a better husband, and if he hadn't done that, don't think they would have ever agreed to leave Vegas now that they're getting older and most of the kids are on their own. I could totally see them wanting to move, or at least downsize. I stopped watching after the move, but when I heard Christine left him, I had to go back and figure out what led to the downfall. She actually saved the show. It was getting so depressing, and I can totally understand why she felt isolated. Watching her and Janelle get close made a lot of sense too. Robyn, though her whole vibe is just sad, she's so obsessed with controlling her kids. She feeds them all this fear and has them stuck in this weird frozen state where they're afraid to grow up. She's almost trapping them in time. It's heartbreaking to watch, especially since they're becoming more independent. It's clear that Robyn wants to keep them all under her thumb. I can't help but think how different things might have been if they had stayed in Vegas, especially when it comes to Cody's relationship with his kids. It would have been so much easier for Cody and Robyn to gaslight everyone about the favoritism if they were all living next door instead of Robyn in a mansion Janelle was stuck in an RV. If they'd stayed, maybe Kody's relationships with his kids would have been stronger. As for the marriages, I'm not so sure, but it definitely would have played out a lot differently. So I'm rewatching again because why not? And I've hit the part where Meri finally legally divorces Kody, and Kody and Robyn are getting their legal marriage. And honestly, I'm kind of with Kody on this one. Robyn and Meri want to throw a whole party for the legal marriage, and Kody's like, we've already had a wedding 4 years ago. Let's not make this into a second wedding. And you know what? I don't get why he's getting flack for this for once. He actually didn't turn it into some big dramatic event. It was low-key, barely even acknowledged. It makes a difference in the grand scheme of things, but still it was like, man, it's just paperwork. In fact, this is probably the closest Kody's ever come to showing that he actually values the spiritual marriages. Meanwhile, Meri and Robyn, who are practically begging for a huge celebration over the legal marriage, are the ones making it clear that they're the ones who care about the legal status more than they claim. Let's not forget that little moment Meri took her marriage license down from the wall in front of Robyn. If it didn't matter to her, then why was it hanging there in the first place? So it turns out the Dr. Kody and Robyn getting their pandemic rules from was a chiropractor. I mean, am I the only one who's a little shocked? I had this one gig in high school babysitting for a couple who only took their kids to a chiropractor at first. I thought it was some bizarre religious thing, but now it seems more likely they didn't have insurance, just like the Browns. Makes sense, right? Honestly, though, it's mind-boggling that Kody and Robyn would take advice from a chiropractor and follow it to the letter. But then again, it's Kody and Robyn we're talking about, so it's probably par for the course. Their decision-making skills are, let's say, questionable at best. Not a fan of chiropractors, to say the least. They really shouldn't be allowed to walk around calling themselves doctors. I mean, after dealing with physical therapy for a car accident, I asked what the difference would have been if I had gone the chiropractic route. Instead, my PT pretty much said the treatments would have been similar, except their goal is to get you fixed and never see you again, whereas the chiropractor's goal is keep you coming back for life. So yeah, not exactly the ideal doctor to be following for advice. If you ask me, I think the whole doctor thing was just a front. Kody and Robyn were probably just making up their own rules and pretending they had some medical backing. Classic move, right? Okay, so I'm rewatching series and I've hit the lead up to Mitch and Aspen's wedding. I've got to admit, listening to Scotland the Brave is giving me sorts of patriotic vibes and strangely making me like Mitch more. Who knew? What's your take on him? I'm actually starting to think he might be my favorite of the husbands. Yeah, I know he's not exactly a major player on the show, but something about him just works. He's so steady, but with these hilarious little quirks, like the unicycle that was so random, it actually made me laugh out loud. Also, Christine's line, "That's the nicest way I've ever been told to shut up." Chef's kiss. Classic. I never thought I'd be saying Mitch is one of my favorites, especially since he's not in spotlight much, but here we are. Like the anti-Kody, right? He just doesn't want the limelight, doesn't honk the cameras, and isn't out there posting every detail of his life on social media. What a concept. He's fun, but in a way that doesn't scream, look at me. And from what we've seen, he seems like the perfect match for Aspen. He's super laid back and chill, which is the perfect balance for Aspen, who's always been the responsible one, juggling 4 or more kids at a time. Mitch probably helped her relax and unwind, because let's be real, she needs that. I mean, have you seen the way he helped truly ride her bike so sweet and wholesome. Right. Total opposite of the vibe you get from Cody. That was, hands down, my favorite moment of the series. He's just genuinely good with her. So yeah, Mitch, my favorite with air quotes, because let's face it, we don't know too much about him, but still, if I had to pick, he's definitely it. Oh, Cody's game is painfully obvious. If you've been watching the Flagstaff season, it's almost like he's got this twisted playbook where his goal is to make his wives as miserable as possible, just enough to cause friction, but not so much that it's glaringly obvious that way. When they inevitably start complaining, he can shrug and go, "Look at all I have to deal with." Classic deflection. We've all been there, right? That one person stirs the pot just enough to make everyone else seem like the problem, so they can sit back and play the victim. The guy's practically begging them to leave, but doing it in a way that doesn't look like the bad guy. It's genius move in his mind. He's trying to get them to walk away without ever having to say the words, "I'm done with you." Wives who helped raise his kids and Beadle. His whole spiritual marriage thing has him convinced that leaving Meri is a one-way ticket to his conscience just can't take it. So instead of outright leaving her, he makes her feel as worthless as possible. No affection, no physical connection, just a cold, cynical response to any attempt at intimacy. When she tries to flirt with him, he shoots her down, making her feel like she's not even worth the effort. And then there's the whole punishing her for the catfish incident angle. He's holding on to that grudge like it's the last shred dignity he has left. But here's kicker, he won't leave her because in his mind that would be a spiritual betrayal. The hypocrisy is mind-blowing, though he expects her to fight for him while he does everything possible to make her feel unworthy. Then we have Robyn. Oh, Robyn, she's clearly the only one dares to call Cody out. But behind closed doors, it's like she's all too willing to play along with his rules. She's not fighting him like the others. I honestly think Cody's just trying to push the other wives away so he can be alone with Robyn, his ultimate goal all along. But here's the thing. Once he gets rid of the others, Robyn will be next. He won't stop. Once the other wives are out of the picture, he'll start picking her apart, just like he did with everyone else. Because here's the thing about a manipulative, abusive personality. They don't need targets. They just need someone to dominate. It's a classic cheater move. Cody's behavior is so textbook: create chaos with the people who are supposed to love you so you can justify your actions and ease your conscience. He's always wanted Robyn, and Robyn only wanted the other wives to serve her needs, whether it was emotional support, convenience, or the financial benefits of being part of that group. And she didn't hold back behind their backs, either, spreading lies, whispering poison in Cody's ear about how the other wives somehow disrespecting him. The older kids even started standing up for their mothers. And that's when everything started to fall apart. Cody's whole little polygamous empire started to crumble because the game was too obvious to keep playing. Oh, Cody and his obsession with those ridiculous lights and cables. Once the families are settled into their little cul-de-sac, Cody gets it in his head that hanging lights, yes, cables attached to 4 houses, is the most important thing ever. First, it's for some mission statement, which, spoiler alert, looks like a hot mess. Then it's Thanksgiving, because Hunter's coming home. Cody claims that Hunter will be blown away by all the lights. Really, I can't imagine any young adult caring that much about extra lights. Seriously, who's going to give 2 flying FFs about that? And let's talk about the emotional maturity on display here. Cody's out here, fully convinced that this tacky cable display is the highlight of the century, while the wives are sitting on the couch just worried about Kody not breaking his neck by stepping off the top of the ladder. Honestly, I'm still sitting here thinking, how did I watch this on TV and think it was worth watching, then watch it again and still think it's good TV? Hilarious. The wives are clearly nicer than me, because if I was planning a Thanksgiving for 70 people and my husband was wasting time with cables and lights, everyone in the neighborhood would know how I felt. And let's not forget, why would any teen or preteen give a single care about lights? Heck, even the younger kids probably didn't notice. And yet Kody turned this into this big thing, like it was some magical display. It was 4 cables, and not even a cool-looking 4 cables. It was more like 4 cables desperately trying to look like they belong on a Christmas tree. Honestly, I think the wives just let him go for it, because they knew it would occupy him for a few hours, so they could get on with the real work. Now imagine being a brand new homeowner in a small gated community and finding out that half your neighbors are part of a huge polygamist family on a reality TV show. Suddenly there are nearly 20 kids running around, and the cul-de-sac is being used as a parking lot for the Browns. I'd be fuming. We used to live a cul-de-sac, and it was a peaceful, traffic-free zone for the kids to play. Imagine that suddenly turning into an overcrowded circus. Because of his chaotic family, I'd probably end up moving just to escape the chaos. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and much love to you all.